Love and attachment often go hand in hand. The hormone oxytocin, also known as the love hormone, is released during physical touch, deepening feelings of attachment and bonding in relationships. This is why physical affection can strengthen emotional closeness. Long-term love shifts from passion to companionship. Over time, romantic love transitions from intense passion to a more stable, companionate love based on deep emotional connection and trust. This shift is a natural part of long-lasting relationships. Love can help reduce stress. Studies have shown that being in a loving, supportive relationship can lower stress levels and decrease the production of cortisol, the stress hormone, leading to improved overall health. Heartbreak can cause physical pain. Emotional pain activates the same brain areas involved in physical pain, which is why the experience of heartbreak can feel physically painful, mimicking symptoms of actual injury. Smiling improves mood, even if it's forced. The act of smiling triggers the release of endorphins, which are the body's natural feel-good chemicals, improving your mood and even reducing stress. The placebo effect shows the power of the mind. Simply believing that you are receiving treatment can trigger real physical healing in some cases, showing how strong the mind-body connection is in human health. Sleep affects every part of your well-being. Lack of quality sleep can lead to mental health issues like anxiety and depression, as well as physical problems such as weakened immunity and increased risk of chronic diseases. Exercise is a natural antidepressant. Physical activity increases the production of neurotransmitters like serotonin and dopamine, which help regulate mood and reduce symptoms of depression and anxiety. Social relationships impact your health. Loneliness has been linked to various health issues, including heart disease, weakened immune function, and even a shorter lifespan, proving that social connections are vital to well-being. Losing feelings for someone can happen gradually. Emotional distancing often occurs slowly, with small changes in behavior and communication that accumulate over time. It can feel like a gradual disconnect rather than a sudden shift. Familiarity breeds comfort, but not always attraction. Sometimes, as familiarity increases, the initial excitement and passion can fade, leading to a more platonic or even distant connection over time. Falling out of love can cause guilt. When you lose feelings for someone, you might feel a sense of guilt or responsibility, especially if the other person is still emotionally invested. This can make ending the relationship emotionally difficult. Sometimes feelings change due to personal growth. People evolve over time, and with that growth, emotional needs and desires may shift. This change can lead to drifting apart, even if no one is at fault. Behavior is heavily influenced by environment. Your surroundings and the people you interact with shape your behavior. This is why changes in environment can lead to noticeable changes in habits, attitudes, and even personality. Humans are naturally predisposed to mimic others. Known as the chameleon effect, people often subconsciously mimic the gestures, speech patterns, and behavior of those around them as a way to build rapport and create social bonds. People are more likely to follow a crowd. Human behavior is influenced by social proof, meaning that people tend to follow the actions of others, especially in ambiguous or uncertain situations. This is why groupthink can be so powerful. First impressions are hard to shake. It only takes a few seconds to form a first impression of someone, and once made, it's difficult to change. This is due to a cognitive bias called the primacy effect. Your body language speaks louder than words. Nonverbal communication, like posture, gestures, and facial expressions, often reveals more about a person's feelings and intentions than their words do. Love can literally make you blind to flaws. The brain releases chemicals that create a halo effect around a loved one, making you focus on their positive traits and ignore or downplay their flaws, especially in the early stages of love. Romantic rejection feels like physical pain. Brain scans have shown that being rejected activates the same areas of the brain as physical pain, which is why emotional rejection can feel so deeply hurtful. The more you invest in a relationship, the harder it is to let go. This is called the sunk cost fallacy, where people continue investing time and effort into a relationship because of what they've already put into it, even if it no longer serves them. Self-care isn't selfish, it's necessary for mental health. Prioritizing your mental, emotional, and physical well-being allows you to show up as your best self in relationships and other areas of life. Chronic stress can lead to serious health problems. High levels of stress over long periods can increase the risk of heart disease, high blood pressure, and even mental health disorders like anxiety and depression. Gut health affects your mood. The gut is often referred to as the second brain because of its strong connection to the central nervous system. A healthy gut can lead to improved mental health and overall well-being. Mental health is as important as physical health. While physical health is often prioritized, mental well-being is equally critical to overall happiness and life satisfaction. Neglecting it can lead to burnout, anxiety, and depression. Asking for help is a sign of strength. People often believe they need to handle their problems alone, but reaching out for help, whether professionally or personally, is a strong indicator of self-awareness and emotional intelligence. If someone doesn't care about you anymore, try this. Focus on yourself and what makes you happy. Shift your energy towards self-growth, pursuing your passions, and surrounding yourself with supportive people. By prioritizing your own well-being, you'll rebuild your confidence and emotional strength, which will help you move forward with a clearer mindset. Increased screen time negatively impacts sleep quality. The blue light emitted from phones and computers can interfere with melatonin production, leading to poor sleep and potential health problems over time. Breaking routines helps mental stimulation. Doing the same thing every day can dull the brain's creative capacity, whereas breaking routines and trying new things keeps the brain sharp and engaged. People naturally seek approval from others. Humans are wired to want social validation, which can drive much of our behavior. This need for approval can sometimes lead to people acting against their true desires just to fit in. The brain can become addicted to love. Similar to drug addiction, the release of dopamine and oxytocin during romantic interactions can lead to dependency, causing withdrawal-like symptoms when the relationship ends. Stress can cause memory problems. Chronic stress can shrink the hippocampus, the part of the brain responsible for memory, making it harder to retain and recall information. Saying, "I love you," can have lasting effects. Expressing love releases oxytocin in both the speaker and the recipient, strengthening emotional bonds and reducing stress. Breakups trigger the same brain regions as withdrawal from drugs. The emotional pain felt during a breakup can mirror the brain's response to physical withdrawal from addictive substances, which is why it can feel so unbearable at times. Your brain tricks you into staying in unhealthy relationships. Cognitive dissonance, the mental discomfort experienced from holding two conflicting beliefs, can lead people to rationalize staying in a relationship that isn't good for them. Falling out of love can feel confusing. When feelings start to fade, it can lead to internal conflict and confusion about whether to stay or leave the relationship. This is especially hard if the relationship was once very fulfilling. People resist change, even when it's necessary. Human behavior is deeply rooted in routine and comfort zones, which is why change, especially in relationships, can feel so difficult and is often resisted. Humans are more influenced by emotions than logic. While we like to think we're rational beings, much of our decision-making is driven by emotions rather than pure logic, especially in relationships. Emotional neglect can hurt more than physical neglect. When someone you love emotionally distances themselves, the lack of emotional support can feel more damaging than physical absence, leading to feelings of isolation and loss. Humans are biologically wired for empathy. The brain has mirror neurons that allow us to feel what others are experiencing emotionally. This is why seeing someone else in pain can make us feel a similar emotional response. Small gestures have a big impact. In relationships, consistent small acts of kindness, like leaving a note or remembering important dates, are more significant than grand gestures in maintaining long-term emotional connection. Social media can distort self-esteem. Comparing your life to curated, idealized versions of others' lives on social media can lead to feelings of inadequacy, negatively impacting mental health. Humans are more motivated by loss than gain. Behavioral economics shows that people are more likely to take action to avoid losing something they have than to gain something they don't, which influences decisions in relationships and life. Losing feelings can happen when emotional needs aren't met. If core emotional needs, like support, affection, and communication, aren't fulfilled, it can lead to emotional disconnection and the eventual loss of feelings. Trust takes time to rebuild. Once trust is broken, it can take months or even years to rebuild, and requires consistent effort, transparency, and communication from both partners. People often act irrationally under stress. High levels of stress can trigger emotional responses that override logical thinking, leading to irrational behavior or impulsive decisions.